We have Anton SOEHARYO, good, from Touchten. He's the CEO of Touchten, and he's one of the founders of Touchten Games. Currently in charge of marketing process. His passion includes playing games and learning languages. He actually speaks, looks like 5 languages. 4 languages? Okay. And he's here to talk to you about building a game platform in Indonesia. So, Anton, come on up.
Thank you. Thanks, Chip. Hi, good morning, everyone. I see some familiar faces. Hello. Cheers to those who know me. So yeah, my name is Anton. We are from Indonesia, and we are founded in 2009. A little bit background information about what we do and how we founded our company. So we are basically an all smartphone casual game company. We never have done any games in other platform before. From day one, we make games for the iOS and then later on for Android. A little bit about our founding story. A little bit. We are 3 of us are brothers. I'm the most handsome one over there. I was studying in Japan, and then my brother was in Michigan, and our co-founder, which is our cousin, CTO, is studying in Melbourne. And at that time, we were inspired by an app that was making about $60,000 a day. It's called iFart, and the app is just making 900 sounds of fart sounds. You have the Mexican fart, whatever fart you have, and they're making $60,000. And we are like, we are in the we are in our early 20s, and we are like, wow, this is a cool app. We want to be in this business, and that's how we started. So these are our games. Our first game is called Sushi Chain. It's in the iOS. Sushi Chain, because I was in Japan, I like to eat. You can see from my body size. And at that time, I was searching for the keyword sushi in the App Store, and then I couldn't find any good game, and I was disappointed. I was like, hey, let's make this. So organically, we grew in 2010. We grew Sushi Chain to 1.2 million downloads without any external so-called CPL or something, because at that time, AdMob, Chartboost, and all the companies doesn't exist yet. So just by the ASO, App Store optimization, that I learned from my early backgrounds as an SEO wannabe guy, I was able to get so far 2.4 million downloads for our titles, Sushi Chain. And some of the titles you see over here, just some brief introduction, is that Infinite Sky, we will featured by Google. We are doing I think over 3 million downloads right now. Train Legend featured by Google as well. We do a collaboration in this year is the World Cup year. It's going to be held in Brazil, and one of the legend is called his name is Zico. If you know him, you know your age. He's quite old. He's like David Beckham of the 70s. And then Ramen Chain was doing 2 million downloads, and Cute Kill is featured currently in a few countries. So that's the highlight of our titles. So quickly, nothing special. We have 8.9 million users, and most of them are in iOS. So that's all you need to know from us. So you might ask, that's not so impressive, and why do you get funding, and how you get funding? So I hope in this session, since it's a funding and M&A session, I hope I can share you my stories, my personal stories of how a game company like us, which is not so impressive at all. We are doing okay. We are not like bad, but how we get funding by these people. These are our investors, Cyber Agent Ventures from Japan. As you know, they are a Japanese tech giant. They have already IPO'd. And the reason why we choose them also is that they are locally based in Jakarta. So I'll explain to you later why that's important. And then Tms Entertainment is a subsidiary company of Sega. They do Japanese animation. Their titles include Conan Detective, Hamtaro, and then Lupin the Third, and stuff like that. They have strong IP characters. Of course, our first investors are local, Ideal Source. They have local expertise and strong network locally. And then our latest investor, which we closed our Series B, was a bank. So very surprising, UOB, United Overseas Bank. I think the second, or not one of the largest bank in Singapore. So yeah, not that impressive. Why? And today I'm going to share with you some of tips or the lessons I learned So I told you about Sushi Chain, right? So we launched, we hit, from one game, three people, just the three of us. We're in our early 20s and we're making $10,000 a month. Not so great, okay, for 20, Southeast Asian dude, right? So, and then at that time we were negotiating with a VC, right? And we were negotiating with Ideal Source, and then we tried to raise money, and we were, our numbers were pretty impressive. One game, $10,000 a month, wow. Back then in 2010, 2011, it was doing okay. So, but I think it's meant to be. Things are meant to be. Lessons are meant to be learned. A company, I don't want to name the name, but a company contacted Apple and said that we infringe their copyright, blah blah blah, yada yada, and Sushi Chain is no more. Now you can only see the Sushi Chain Lite, but there's no Sushi Chain, and that's just the way it is. I think it's meant to be. For the record, we didn't infringe any copyright law and everything, but it's another story. But anyway, Apple as a service provider, they have to side with, uh, with whoever make the complaint. So that's kind of a loophole of the App Store. Anyway, not speaking about that. So I was talking to a VC, and we were like, oh, we're making $10,000. You want to invest in us, blah blah blah. And suddenly, after the Apple took down our app, we are making like $300 a month. So I'm like dumbstruck, and then so this is no more, right? I'm talking to the VC, and then I have to call them 3 weeks later and say, oh, by the way, the numbers that I talked to you 3 weeks ago, now it changed to $300 a month. So it looks like I'm lying to them, right? But that's where I learned my first lesson, is that my investor told me that if you're an entrepreneur and all the way your company is always going up, there's no rainy season, you're not a true entrepreneur. And then came my first lesson, is that the best investors out there invest in you, invest in the people. They give me a call and say, don't worry, we don't invest in your $10,000 a month product. We invest in you, your brother, and your cousin. And that's how you should look into investors. And of course, the lesson we learned from Sushi Chain is that never put your egg in one basket. If you are in iOS, also do Google Play. If you're in Google Play, also do Steam. Put your game in as many platform as possible. That's the lesson that we learned. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, so after this, what we learned is that I was inspired by a guy who founded Evernote. The second lesson for you today is that the best time to raise fund is when you don't need it. What I mean by that is that as a game company, I know it's hard, but as a tech company, you will have better terms to deal with a VC if you have a pretty long runway, and if you have revenue and profit or profitability, that's preferred for you to negotiate a better term. So the best time to raise fund is when you don't really need it, and that's what happened in our second round of funding. When we don't really need the money, we quickly approach VCs, and we get there. Now, some common mistakes that I want to share with you as I learned from talking to investors is that investors don't pay for your salary. Don't go and talk to investors and say, oh, this is our runway, and this is my salary, this is my co-founder salary, and blah blah blah. you know don't don't approach them the way it is. So the common mistake is like, oh great, I'm gonna get invested, my life's gonna be fine. Usually a good investor or investor who will challenge you, are you sure that you're gonna, are you okay by not getting paid for 6 months or something? That's the kind of feedback I get from investors, that don't ever tell investors, oh, invest in me because I'm great and this is my salary. So that's not gonna work. It never happens. And another thing I learned is that time is valuable, and that that fundraising is a full-time job. Is 24 hours. Especially if you deal with foreign investors, you have to answer emails at night and stuff like that. It's a full-time job, and so full-time unpaid job. So what you need to do with your time is actually to build your product. So my advice to all investors, entrepreneurs out here is that if you're fundraising, if you're ever fundraising, treat it as if it's your last. I don't care if they tell you, okay, after Series B, 6 months later, you're gonna raise Series C, whatever, but treat it as if it's your last. Raise money more than you need. So, it's just like that. Another common mistake that I find because of our Eastern culture is that, you know, everybody have seen this movie, right? The Social Network. I believe this is true, but investors are not your boss. So never find an investor and then, of course, our Eastern culture is that uh, somebody with the money is equal your boss. And then, of course, along the way, investors will ask you to, oh, can you make this game for us, blah, blah, blah. But still, decline them with respect if you have to. You have to be the controlling panel. You have to be the commandant. You have to be the captain of your ship. That's my advice for people. So, the big question I want to answer today is that, is it hard for a game company to raise fund? Is it hard? The answer is, yeah, it can be, but we did it, and I want to share with you our journey so far. So, this is my experience. Within a year, I met with over 25 VCs slash angel investors slash investors. That is, if you do your math, it's about one meeting every 2 weeks, or even more than that. And we got lots of rejections. So the key here is never to give up. But we even got rejected by CyberAgent the first time around because they say, and this is the keyword here, they say we don't only invest in game studio only. We don't only invest in game studio only. That means, and some of the people have some feedback that comes to me is that, game studio that don't make money will never get investment. And I say, okay, why? And the logic is simple: is that you need money to do marketing to get the traction and the revenue, and without the revenue, people don't invest. So it's like a circle, right? So we think to ourselves, what should we do? The keyword is we don't invest in game studio only. So that stuck in my head, and I'm like, okay. So we built a platform. That's why the title of the story is how we built a platform in Indonesia. So that's a platform. Our platform is simply an O2O platform, an online to offline platform. So you simply say users play the game, you get some reward for completing certain stages, or you get reward by collecting virtual coins, and then you exchange the goods, and then in return, people will give you your email in exchange of coupons or free stuff. So we realized, and in Indonesia, there's the need for this because the users have very few options to pay, and the users have some mentality of not paying for games. Both are very debatable, but so we shift our focus. Instead of asking our users to pay, we ask brands to pay for this. And these are some of the problems that we see in the standpoint of advertisers. Ads are mass targeted. They never get to you. So if you put a billboard, you never know who sees it and stuff like that. And it's a matter of fact, users hate ads, right? Players dislike ads, and ads is one-way communication, and then ads are more often than not mismatched. So our solution, we want to be part of the solution, and that's what we pitch to our investors, and that's why they invested in us, is that for brands, you only pay for results. If a users come to your shop, then you pay us. And then for players, they love rewards because they it's not a waste of their time. And then it's, with our platform, brands can email and send surveys to these people who redeem. It's a two-way communication. And these ads are highly targeted because we use analytical tools so that you know who you are dealing with. And this is some of the updates of our platform. We just launched 17th of April as a game called Teka Teki Saku. It's just a crossword puzzle only in Indonesian language. So far, within 4 weeks, I'm happy to report that we have 20,000 daily active users. We have about, our highest concurrent users is 4,000 players. And any given time, if I check my PlayerIO stats, is always 1,000 users every 2 minutes. In our platform, we have 59,000 registered users. That means I know their gender, I know their name, I know their email. And so far we are doing about 400 redemptions a day, which total brings about 8,000 redemptions, and we have 120,000 installed for our Teka-Teki Saku. And also, I have a mini announcement. Today, actually, we launched a game with one of the biggest chat messaging system in Korea, with KakaoTalk. And this is only for Indonesian market. And KakaoTalk sees us as a partner, and we put our platform inside KakaoTalk in Indonesia. And then this game is the first time in the world that a non-Korean developer or any developer in the world can use a KakaoTalk official mascot. And we are very proud of that. And to top up that, KakaoTalk is sponsoring an event called Asian Dream Cup. Anybody knows Park Ji-sung, Rio Ferdinand and stuff like that? Yeah. So Park Ji-sung and friends and the Running Man show is coming to Indonesia on June the 2nd. And we have 10 tickets, VIP tickets, that we are going to distribute in our platform so that users can win the game. So this is some achievement that we are doing right now. And KakaoTalk, as you might know, is also earlier they were invested by CyberAgent, and that's why we get the connection from CyberAgent. So another lesson is that whenever you ask a VC for money, ask for more than just the money. Ask for the connections, and this is what we are trying to get. So the question I want to answer here, as if you remember, is that is there no love for game companies, right? We prove it wrong. It's very dependable. So you really have to sometimes think outside the box. And we believe that anybody can build a platform, but without a good game, the platform will be deserted. So that's our strong point, and that's how we believe. And before I close, there's a saying in Chinese, is 对牛弹琴, is literally means playing music to the ox. So my advice to you is that rejections will come, VCs will say no to you, but at the end of the day, people who want to work with you are the one that you have to cherish and the one that you have to work with. I've talked to a lot of VCs, a lot of angel investors. For example, just a quick story I share. My mom works in a bank for 30 years, and the first ever lead of an investor I got is from my mom. My mom would check on who have the most money in the bank, and then he would introduce me by email and say, hey, my son is doing this, do you want to invest? And I met these people, and those are the billionaires of Indonesia who have money in the bank, and they are from the coal mining business, brick and mortars. And I try to explain a game and say, oh, there's an app store, there's a Google Play, and they say, oh, Google Play and App Store is your Carrefour, right? So there's a Carrefour and you are the fruit seller, right? So I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm talking to the right person. So talk to people who knows you, talk to people who are local, and don't repeat the same mistake this guy is doing, which is singing a song to an ox. Nobody, it's not a great match for you, anyone. So to recap, is this. Number one, great investors invest in people. Go find those guys. Raise money when you don't need it. Investors do not invest in your salary. Fundraising takes time and it's a full-time job, so prepare for that. It's not instant. It's not you call somebody, unless you're Rocket Internet, of course. It's full-time unpaid job. Investors is not your boss. And then I've deemed the fact that investors don't invest in game company, and this is typical to my company. Of course, other game studios I cannot vouch for. You can find investment easily, hopefully. And if you're serious of publishing games in Indonesia, you can come and talk to me. So with that, I end my presentation, and thank you so much. If you have any questions, I would be happy to take it. Thank you.
Yeah, great presentation, Anton. Having raised a lot of money for game studios myself, those are absolutely the key rules in raising money. So excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Any questions? Yeah.
Hi, great platform, and congratulations for that. Just wanted to check, there is a physical aspect of getting these deals and redemption happening at point of sales.
Yes.
How did you guys kind of crack that part?
Okay, so we work with merchants. It's a bit of a education for them as well. But we work with merchants who have a POS system integrated online, or if not, we just get a list of coupon codes, and usually it's very limited. Sometimes some machine can only have 75 coupon or stuff like that. So yeah, that's how we kind of work in a nutshell.
And the second question is that this is linked to a game. So each game which you are creating, it's easy to integrate the SDK. But if you want to get more games on your platform, what do you think? Why will the developers get convinced to kind of integrate that SDK of your platform in their own game?
Well, for now, we do not launch openly yet. But what we do is we select some developers who want to work with us, and we publish the game. But in the future, we would love to do that. But before that, we want to show the numbers like this. Our aim is to get 1 million daily active users in Indonesia by 2014 December. To answer your question is that we want to implement a system where if you have our SDK and in other games that we have the traffic, this is our plan, by the way, so that users will have a unique link. When they refer to the friend and the friend install and log into our platform, they will get some Touchten points which they can earn real good. So that's kind of the marketing that we are trying to think.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Congrats again.
Thank you.
You said investors do not invest in game studios as a myth, or do they not invest in game studios?
I think it's a myth because I got invested eventually. But I think I mean, you have, like I said, you have to work with people who want to work with you. So really, if some gaming fund, their mandate from the LP, which is limited partner, is to invest in game studio, then you should approach this fund. But my experience is that if you go to some VC who always invest in e-commerce and have no interest in gaming, so you're wasting your time basically. So it's a myth because I believe it's possible. It's possible.
But I guess actually in your presentation, what I read is the investment was mainly done in the platform, and you use games to grow actually the user base of your platform. So
yes,
it's slightly turned business model.
Yes and no, in a sense that, like I said, I believe that infrastructure, if you have the money and the brain, infrastructure anybody can make an infrastructure. But we believe that with the hit titles that we are making, if we integrate our platform, our infrastructure, I think it's going to be a good match. So in order for us to continue making games, which is our passion, we have to think outside the box of, we are making a platform. But I'm not saying that, this is a bait for an investor, because we're really building it and we know the value of it. So, that's how I present to the investors.
So you have 4 investors in your company right now?
Yes.
Is it 4 investors? And did you set a valuation ahead of time when you met these investors?
Yes. So valuation for game company is very tricky. Usually, if you have a revenue and you have a profitability rate, and traction, of course, it's a good sign. It's easy for you to calculate. If not, then it really comes down to what we do. I know there's a lot of models, but what we do is we put the EBITDA of our financial projections and times it times 3 if it's worst case, times 6 if it's base case, and times 8 if it's a good case. So that's our valuation of the financial projection.
And did you have investors competing to invest in the company at certain points?
Yes. In other words, in our story is that one cyber agent invested in us. Talking to other investors is just very easy. So you just need to get one to believe in you, get the term sheet, and then just sell the term sheet to other investors. Of course, with the NDA, you have to scratch down the name and just say, oh, a Japanese investors already invested in us, and
Yeah, that's a really good point. So getting that lead investor makes things go a lot quicker.
Yes, it's kind of making them jealous.
Yeah,
telling them,
yeah,
telling them, oh, my marriage is on the 9th of September. Are you gonna marry me or not?
Great presentation.
Thank
Great
you.
lessons. Thank you, Anton.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.